Newsroom. Welcome to Worldwide Campus News and Entertainment. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to be learning about for the 2022 year in review. Would you guys want you know how to reading for the news that you can report this, what you think about the best, or what you think about the worst? Because we barely had time to keep up with the news. And now let's get to right ahead for the headlines. Let's start with 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. On February 24th, 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine in a major escalation of the Russo-Ukrainian War, which began in 2014. The invasion has resulted in tens of thousands of deaths on both sides. It has caused Europe's largest refugee crisis since World War II. An estimated 8 million Ukrainians were displaced within their country by late May, and 7.8 million fled the country by November 8, 2022, while Russia, within 5 weeks of the invasions, experienced its greatest emigration since the 1917 October Revolution. Now, that was only with the commanders and leaders with Russian President Vladimir Putin, followed by the Ukrainian Volodymyr Zelensky. Moving on to the next headline, 2022 State of the Union Address. The 2022 State of the Union Address was given by the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden, on March 1st, 2022 at 9 in the evening Eastern in the chamber of the United States House of Representatives to the 117th United States Congress. Joe Biden with Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi. That was in the White House in Washington, D.C. for the readers, House Chamber, U.S. Capitol. The next headline, we have the National Committee of the CPPCC anchor starts for 14th five-year plan. What you learn about China's top political advisors calls for enhancing unity all among Chinese. When you think about Wang Yang call for efforts to strengthen unity among all Chinese on Friday, as the country's top political advisory body started its annual session in Beijing. Now, the next headline, we have the 2022 South Korean presidential election. Presidential elections were held in South Korea on March 9, 2022. Under the South Korean constitution, presidents are restricted to a single 5-year term, meaning that incumbent President Moon Jae-in was ineligible to run for a second term. As you can see, both nominees came for the turnout. People Power, Yoon Suk-yeol, and Democratic, Lee Jae-myung. The next headline, we have the 2022 Serbian general election. General elections were held in Serbia on April 3, 2022 to elect both the president and members of the National Assembly. So that's why when you see about Serbia's Alexander Vučić claims re-election's victory, which probably Serbian President Vučić declares victory in election. What you guys think about the Shenzhou 13 was a Chinese space flight launched on October 15, 2021 at 1623 UTC. The flight marked the 8th crewed Chinese spaceflight and the 13th flight of the Shenzhou program. So this dated from October 15, 2021 from last year through April 16, 2022 from the rocket Long March 2F. Spacecraft Shenzhou 13 with the 3 members, Zhai Zhigang, Wang Yaping, and Ye Guangfu. The next headline, we have the Boao Forum for Asia 2022. The Boao Forum for Asia Annual Conference 2022, which ended on Friday, was closely watched by business runners and scholars worldwide as the global economy desperately needs impetus and certainty. Many of them stressed the importance of the Boao discussions on Asia and world economy, as well as global challenges, saying the forum helps build consensus and draw a blueprint for global governance on sustainable development. The next article, we have the 2022 French presidential election. It was held on April 10 and 24, 2022. As no candidate won a majority in the first round, a runoff was held in which Emmanuel Macron defeated Marine Le Pen and was re-elected as president of France. So once again, congratulations to Emmanuel Macron. The next headline is 2022 Hong Kong Chief Executive election. The 2022 Hong Kong Chief Executive election was held on May 8, 2022 for the 6th term of the Chief Executive, the highest office of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. Incumbent Carrie Lam, who was elected in 2017, declined to seek a second term for family reasons and finished her term on June 30th, 2022. Right now, Johnny Cacho. The next headline, we have the 2022 Australian federal elections, which also known as 2022 Australian Prime Minister election. The 2022 Australian federal election was held on Saturday, May 21st, 2022 to elect members of the 47th Parliament of Australia. Now, that was the Australian election will become a new Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, amidst defeat. The next headline, we have the Platinum Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II in 70 years. This was the international celebration in 2022, marking the 70th anniversary of the accession of Queen Elizabeth II on February 6, 1952, the first British monarch to ever celebrate one. After Shenzhou 13, we have the Shenzhou 14, was a Chinese space flight that launched on June 5, 2022 at 2:44 UTC. The flight marked the 9th crewed Chinese spaceflight and the 14th flight of the Shenzhou program. There was the rocket Long March 2F. 3 members, Chen Dong, Liu Yang, and Cai Shizhe. Now for the next headline, China and the 5 Central Asian countries vowed on Wednesday to safeguard regional peace and stability as Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi has been already attending the 3rd China plus Central Asia, which is known for the C plus C5 Foreign Ministers meeting in Kazakhstan. So that was for the China plus Central Asia will establish a mechanism for the heads of state meeting. Now the next headline, the IISS Shangri-La Dialogue is Asia's premier defense summit. It's a unique meeting where ministers debate the regional's meeting pressing security challenges, engage in important political talks, and come up with fresh approaches together. SLD 2022. So that was the 2022 IISS Shangri-La Dialogue from June 10th through 12th, 2022. The next headline, we have the 14th BRICS Summit. The 2022 BRICS Summit is the 14th annual BRICS Summit, an international relations conference attended by the heads of states or heads of governments of the 5 member states Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It was the 3rd time that China hosted the BRICS Summit after 2011 and 2017. Now for the special event, what you guys remember since 1997, the year 2022 marks the 25th anniversary of the establishment of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. So that was what you can celebrate the 25th anniversary of HKSAR. You're probably sure when you guys live into the United Kingdom, the cabinet has been assured Boris Johnson will govern in line with convention for an outgoing Prime Minister. Welsh Secretary Robert Buckland says, you're probably sure that was Boris Johnson announced his resignation as Conservative Party leader. So what we got for next, 2022 G20 Bali Summit. So this was the 17th meeting of the Group of 20, which was held in Nusa Dua, Bali, Indonesia on November 15 to 16, 2022. Indonesia's presidency began on December 1st, 2021, that you always remember for last year, leading up to the summit in the 14th quarter of 2022. The next headline, we have this breaking news about the assassination of Shinzo Abe. Shinzo Abe, the former Prime Minister of Japan and a serving member of the House of Representatives, was assassinated on July 8, 2022 while speaking at the political event outside Yamato Saidaiji Station in Nara City in Nara Prefecture, Japan. The movement, a grudge against the Unification Church and Abe's connections with it. When you learn about science, NASA releases first full batch of James Webb Space Telescope images. The James Webb Space Telescope resumes science operations December 20th. The Webb's instruments intermittently went into safe mode beginning December 20th. Will you guys learn about the 2022 elections in India? Elections in India in 2022 will include elections to the office of the President of India, Vice President of India, by-elections to the Lok Sabha, elections to the Rajya Sabha, elections to the state legislative assemblies of 7 states, by-elections to state legislative assemblies and numerous other elections, and by-elections to state legislative councils and local bodies. On August 2nd through 3rd, 2022, United States politician Nancy Pelosi, while serving as the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, visited Taiwan on August 2nd, 2022. A delegation of 5 Democratic Party members of the House accompanied Pelosi on the visit. So that was about 2022 visit by Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan. When you think about the Belt and Road Summit 2022 in Hong Kong, for the organizer, the government of the Hong Kong Special Administration Region, Hong Kong Trade Development Councils, for Venus, Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Century/online. When you think about who the British next leader will be Liz Truss, a right-wing figure who influenced a dire energy crisis from scandal hit Boris Johnson. So that was about for the Liz Truss elected Conservative Party leaders as becoming new Prime Minister. If you haven't seen for the special coverage, as her son King Charles III pays tribute to his beloved mother, who has died peacefully at Boao, Queen Elizabeth II, the UK's longest-serving monarch, has died at Boao at the age of 96 after resigning for 70 years. Right now, King Charles III will take turn. The next headline is the 2022 SCO Summit. This was the 2022 annual summit of heads of state of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization held between September 15 and 16 in Samarkand, Uzbekistan. With the chair, Shavkat Mirziyoyev. The 2022 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded jointly to 1 individual and 2 organizations which advocate human rights and civil liberty. The recipients were the Belarusian activist Alex Bialyatsky, the Russian Human Rights Organization Memorial, and the Ukrainian Human Rights Organization Center for Civil Liberties. If you never know what the disaster seeing huge explosion destroys parts of bridge linking Russia and Crimea, Ukrainian officials says it is just the beginning. That was when the fuel tanker catches fire on Crimea Bridge. The 20th National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, commonly referred to as Shida, opened in Beijing on October 6, 2022 and closed on October 22, 2022. The CCP Congress endorsed the membership list of the Central Commission of Discipline Inspection and elected the 20th Central Committee of the CCP. Location, Great Hall of the People. After Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak is a British politician who has served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and leader of the Conservative Party since October 2022. He previously held 2 cabinet positions under Boris Johnson, lastly, and Chancellor of the Exchequer from 2020 to 2022. And yes, Rishi Sunak became a new Prime Minister after Liz Truss. I also forgot to mention about the 20th CPC National Congress in Beijing. You have been seeing when 79-year-old former Chinese President Hu Jintao escorted out of China's Communist Party Congress. You know, that was during the 20th CPC National Congress begins closing session. At the Sharm el-Sheikh Climate Change Conference, which is known as COP27, countries came together to take actions toward achieving the world's collective climate goals as agreed under the Paris Agreement and the Convention. The conference took place from November 6 to 20th, 2022 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. When you think about the 25th China-ASEAN, which is known for the 10+1 meeting, was held by Li Keqiang delivered a speech. Also, he met and talked with 3 leaders of Japan, South Korea, and Philippines. Begins on November 14, 2022, APEC 2022 Thailand is a year-long hosting of Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation meetings in Thailand scheduled to take place in 2022. Thailand previously hosted APEC meeting in 2003 and 1992. The theme for 2022 APEC meetings is Open, Collect, Balance. Right at the end, November 19, 2022. So that was for the 2022 APEC Economic Leaders that was in Bangkok. When you talk about for the 2022 Taiwanese local elections were held in Taiwan on November 26 and to be held on December 18 to elect country magistrate, country councillors, township mayors, township councillors, and chief of village in 6 multi-policies and 6 countries. Elected official will serve a 4-year term. And you can see Jiang when self-declared elected mayor of Taipei. After Shenzhou 14, Shenzhou 15 is a Chinese spacecraft is launched on the 29th November 2022 at 15:08 UTC. The flight marked the 10th cruise Chinese space flight and the 15th flight of the Shenzhou program. The 3 members, Fei Junlong, Deng Qiming, and Zhang Lu. Like Queen Elizabeth II, former Chinese President Jiang Zemin has been already passed away due to leukemia and multiple organ failure in Shanghai at 12:13 in the afternoon on Wednesday, November 30th, 2022 at his age of 96. What you see for the 2022 U.S. election, which came for the midterm elections, the U.S. election was held on November 8th, 2022 with the abstention of 70 balloting. Both DEM and GOP has only 49. View election results and maps for the 2022 House of Representatives midterm election. Now for the pop culture. The 79th Golden Globes Awards honored the best film and American television of 2021 as chosen by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. The ceremony took place privately on January 9, 2022. The nominees were announced on last December 13, 2021 by rapper Snoop Dogg and HFPA President Helen Hearn. The 64th Annual Grammy Awards ceremony was held at the MGM Grand Canyon Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada on April 3rd. It recognized the best recording, composition, and artist of the eligibility year, running from September 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2001, hosted by Trevor Noah. I already mentioned about the 75th British Academy Film Awards, which also known as the BAFTAs, were held on March 3rd, 2022 at the Royal Albert Hall in London, honoring the best national and foreign films of 2021, hosted by Rebel Wilson. I have been missed on the television event on BBC. The 94th Academy Awards ceremony, presented by the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Science, took place on March 7, located at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California, hosted by Amy Schumer, Regina Hall, and Wanda Sykes. Before Will Smith picked up his Oscar for Best Actor, comedian Chris Rock made a joke at wife Jada's expense while presenting the Best Documentary prize. This is the moment Will Smith interrupts the show. You haven't saw Will Smith slaps at Chris Rock, so should Rock host the Oscar in 2023? That's the question what you can ask. On July 17, 2022, the 40th Hong Kong Film Awards presentation ceremony took place at the Star Hall at Column Bay International Trade and Exhibition Centre. Earlier, it was scheduled for April 17, but it was postponed twice due to COVID-19. The 75th Annual Cannes Film Festival is the festival that took place from 17 to 18 of May 2022. The festival featured a tribute to actor Tom Cruise, whose film Top Gun Maverick premiered at the festival and where the actor was awarded an honorary Palme d'Or award on short notice, hosted by Virginie Efira. Locations, Palace of Festival, and Congresses of Cannes. The 79th Venice International Film Festival is organized by La Biennale de Venezia and directed by Alberto Barbera. It took place at Venice Lido for August 31st to September 10th, 2022. On June 12, 2022 at the 75th Tony Awards, the ceremony was held at Radio City Music Hall in New York City, with Ariana DeBose serving as host of the main ceremony and Derek Chris and Julia Ho co-hosting a streaming pre-show. On June 24, 2022, the 49th Daytime Emmy Awards, presented by the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, honored the best in U.S. daytime television programming in 2001, located at the Pasadena Convention Center in Pasadena, California, hosted by Kevin Fraser and Estelle Turner. On September 12, 2022, the 74th Primetime Emmy Awards honored the best in American primetime television programming from June 1, 2021 until May 31, 2022, as chosen by the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, hosted by Kenan Thompson, located at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles, California. As you guys know, for the Time Magazine events located in Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, so that's the one for the 2022 Met Gala on May 2nd, 2022. Before Thursday, September 22nd, 2022, as the stars came arrive for a Law & Order premiere event, you evenly watched 3-hour series of Law & Order was on NBC's for this episode, Give Me Shelter. As I mentioned about the sport, the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 will be played from November 20th to December 18th in Qatar. It will be the 22nd edition of the competition and the first play in Arab world. For the special sport event, the 2022 Winter Olympics, officially called the SSIB Olympic Winter Games and commonly known as Beijing 2022, was an international winter multi-sport event held from February 4th to 20th, 2022 in Beijing, China, and surrounding areas with competition in selected events beginning 2nd of February. After the Winter Olympics, the 2022 Winter Paralympics, commonly known as Beijing 2022, was an international winter multi-sports power sports event held in Beijing, China from March 4 to 13, 2022. This was the 13th Winter Paralympic Games as administered by the International Paralympic Committee, located at the National Stadium in Beijing. What are your favorite moments in 2022 and what we forgot to miss? To find out more news stories is covered next. Head over to YouTube channel and search Worldwide Campus News and Entertainment. Then be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified for our latest video. And we will be saying goodbye to 2022. I hope you guys will enjoy for the new year 2023.